What's up, Mets fans? Welcome to another Mets postgame show right here on the channel. How is everybody doing? As the New York Mets put a beat down to the St. Louis Cardinals 14-3, 14 hits to match the 14 runs. And they gave up a ton of hits, but what we need to see from certain people we got today, and we'll talk about all of that. So hit on that like button, guys, and subscribe to the channel. Let me just roll up the box score really quick so we can get a little breakdown on everything and the scoring and all that fun stuff as well. So obviously, first things first is all about who pitched today, right? Freddy Peralta was chosen to be the opening day starter, which I don't think is a surprise to anybody. I know there was some backlash from some Mets Twitter people about it was like a smack in the face to Nolan McLean, which is ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. Nolan McLean deserves nothing. Can we be honest about that? Can we start acting like he's an actual rookie who's only pitched 8 games in his major league career and not treat him like a guy that he's not yet? Let him earn it. There's nothing wrong with letting him earn it. And while he earns it, the Mets have a security blanket in their true ace, Freddy Peralta, who is pitching on opening day. So I don't think it should be a shock to anybody. Freddie, you brought him in here. You traded 2 top prospects for Freddy Peralta for a reason. All right? It's very simple. If the Mets believed in Nolan McLean to be the leader of this rotation, even over the next 4 or 5 years, they would have never got Freddy Peralta. Let's be honest about that. You know, the Mets got Freddy Peralta on the aspirations of signing him to an extension. That's probably in the works. So, in all likelihood, Freddy Peralta is going to be leading this rotation for the next 4 to 5 years. So, let's make sure we understand that McLean is a rookie. McLean has proven nothing except he has the poise, he has the attitude, he has the personality, and he has the stuff. All of those are great qualities. All of those are qualities of a great starter as a potential ace. But let him get there first. There's no need to rush him. There's no need to push him. There's no need to put tremendous amount of pressure on him when you don't have to. You got a veteran in Peralta who is a damn good starter, who is the ace of the staff, and you traded 2 top prospects for him. He is the opening day starter. Get over it. Met fans got to relax a little bit. There's no need, again, and I agree with Brad, there's no need to put pressure on Nolan McLean like this, right? I think he can handle it. I think he's going to be good, but let him do it. Let him earn it. Let him get better. There is no need to put all that pressure on him for no reason. That you traded for Peralta for that pressure, who's been there, done that, and it makes the most sense. You start Nolan McLean on game 2 on that Saturday. It's okay. It is okay. And again, Nolan McLean doesn't deserve the opening day start. Let's be honest about that. 8 starts, most people should be wiping their ass with that. It means nothing. It was in a tremendous time for the New York Mets in August and September, and they put a lot of pressure on him then, and he did his job. But let him go through 30 starts. Let him get through 30 starts. Let's see if he can do it throughout an entire season, because great pitchers, ace pitchers, do it for the majority of their starts during the season. All right? He's a rookie for a reason. All right? If the Mets believed in him to the point of they had no questions about him, they probably wouldn't have got Peralta. Let's be honest about that. And yeah, McLean might be the road opener. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if McLean's going to get the road opener. But then again, it depends on how he pitches, where he pitches in the WBC, and how he lines up. Again, he could pitch that Saturday in game 2 at Citi Field against Pittsburgh, or he can pitch in St. Louis when we go on the road trip for the second series of the year. Explosive Sproat was a better prospect than Tong. I'm not going to go there yet. I just think Sproat was a little bit more developed than Tong. I think he was a little further along, which is, it is what it is. I mean, that is why the Brewers wanted him. Like, let's be honest. Well, HVAC, I don't even know how people look at your comments. So let me get this straight. Nolan McLean is a guy that should get opening day because he's Jacob deGrom, right? That's what we think. Come on, guys. Like, let's be honest. People are infatuated with guys that are homegrown. Have we not learned our lessons with Pete Alonso? Or we're just going to completely go down that road again with another player? Let Nolan McLean develop. Let him become the better pitcher that he hopes to be, and we hope he is, going down that road. But let him get there. He doesn't deserve the opening day start over Freddy Peralta, who is more established, who right now is the better pitcher, and you traded for him to be your ace. All right? Nolan McLean can be that guy next year. If he blossoms into a star this season, then there's no question. Nolan McLean is the opening day starter next year. But let's get there. Let's get there. Sure, Brett, of course. If Peralta wasn't here, obviously Nolan McLean would get the nod for opening day. Obviously. Because he has more potential than anybody else in this rotation. The same people that want Nolan McLean now were the same ones bitching and moaning that Sanger should have been an opening day starter last year. So, think about what you said. All right? So, it is what it is at this point. The fact of the matter is, opening day is always a fun time, right? It's always an honor to pitch on opening day. But after opening day, everybody goes throughout there every fifth day, right? And we'll be bitching and moaning about the fourth guy and the third guy, and sometimes Peralta, sometimes McLean. But McLean has shown not enough to make him what we want him to be, at least right now. 8 starts means nothing. And until people actually get that through their heads, you're just going to be infatuated with that situation and with that possibility of, oh, he's already this when he's not. And we have to understand that. He has all the twos to be a great pitcher. But we also have to understand that he's not there yet. It's okay. Brad, yeah. If McLean looks good, I go as far, again, we don't know what the end of the season is going to look like, right? Do you have to pitch a Peralta or a McLean at the end of the season to make the playoffs? Then it will be decided. But again, when we get there, we can talk about that and have a conversation and an argument about who might pitch game 1 of the playoffs. Let's get there first. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is a great 1-2 punch, right? You got the security blanket in Freddy Peralta just in case Nolan McLean takes a small step back. And a small step back doesn't mean he's going to be bad. It's just that he might be good, but he might not be at the level that everybody thought he was going to be. And that is why you brought in Freddy Peralta, to be that security blanket. So Nolan McLean can develop and learn and get better and still pitch well in that process. It's a very good 1-2 punch. But right now, it's a 1.5 punch because Freddy Peralta is an ace. Freddy Peralta is a veteran, great pitcher. Nolan McLean has the potential. Right? He's got to be that second part of this 1-2 punch. He's got to get there first. Right? I don't care. He struck out 6 guys in spring training yesterday. That means nothing to me. Right? Let's see what he does in the games like he did last season in August, September. He needs to continue that. And that is what he has to do. So the start from Freddy Peralta today is first outing of the spring, 3 innings, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. Again, very nice. Exactly what you want to see from Freddy Peralta. Again, this is not about how many strikeouts, how many hits, runs. It's more about stretching out his arm, getting those innings in, and of course, how many pitches he's thrown. You want to stretch him out as well. That is all you need from Freddy Peralta. And that is what we need to see from Freddy Peralta. Stay healthy, increase those innings, increase those pitch count, and then be our ace. That is basically what you're asking for. Now, the next guy that came into the game was Devin Williams. Now, obviously, it was very early in the game, and the first pitch he threw went over the wall for a home run. That's the only run he gave up, but that's okay. All right, I'm not going crazy about the home run that Devin Williams gave up in the 4th inning. I'm not going to go crazy about that. But, again, there is going to be a question, right? We know what Devin Williams did as a Yankee for the majority of the year. He was not good. Gave up a ton of runs, ton of big home runs, ton of blown saves. He looked better at the end of the year, probably late August and September. He looked like the guy that we thought he was. And right now, look, when you had Edwin Diaz and one of the best closers in baseball, everybody's going to question it. But that does not mean Devin Williams can't be a damn good closer. Edwin Diaz type, maybe not, probably not. But that doesn't mean you can't win with Devin Williams, because you can. He was a top closer 2 years ago. That he just didn't fall off the face of the earth. I mean, he still could. Well, I think we can all understand that he could. And, as the Met fans, we're always waiting for that other shoe to drop. And that's what we all worry about. But you can't look at, comparing him to Edwin Diaz at this point. You got to compare him to what he does now. And just don't compare him at all. He's just got to be a good closer. Right? And here's the thing before we even get to Devin Williams. The Mets got to learn, and they got to get to the closer. The biggest problem that we had last year was we had the best closer in baseball, but we were never able to get to him with a lead. It was either the starters didn't even give him a chance to get a possibility for a save, or the bullpen blown it before he even got to Edwin Diaz. So the first thing is to get to Devin Williams, and then we worry about that. And again, I'm not worried about Devin Williams in the fourth inning. All right, this is a guy that's, he's going to be trying to get his pitch count up a little bit, stretching that arm out. He's going to be throwing that airbender change. He's going to be working on stuff too. So we'll see. Again, there was some talk about him dropping his arm a little bit last year that the Mets picked up on. Let's see if that's a difference. He could be working on that, could be working on certain, grips on the ball as well. Again, it's not excuses. It's his first time pitching. So we're not going to go crazy just yet. Now, if he gives up like 10 to 12 home runs in his outings in spring training, maybe we'll have to worry about that. I would like Ryan Lambert to be a possibility for this Mets bullpen. I mean, he's a gunslinger. We've seen what he did a couple of games ago or yesterday, just mowing people down. He has a great arm. But again, he's in that, wait and see approach because he's not there yet. And I met Ryan Lambert at spring training. I actually got a photo with him when he came to visit the fans in the outfield on opening day at spring training. So he's a cool guy, and he has great stuff. But let's not go crazy. He struck out a couple of guys and looked dominant in spring training against minor leaguers. I know he's a minor leaguer, but let's not go crazy. Again, let's not overhype all these guys, right? We get this in our head. Oh, my God, look what he did against, single-A players. And we're supposed to think he's going to get major league players out. Let's go crazy with that. All right. Let's not go crazy yet. All right. Okay, Rob, the biggest test for Nolan McLean is when he pitches for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Well, yeah, it would be, obviously a big test for sure. I mean, he's playing against, the best, probably a lot of the best players in each of their teams for sure. But again, it depends on how they use him as well, right? Is he going to go 2 innings? Is he going to go 3 innings? Is he going to come in the middle of a game? He's going to face great players for sure. But again, it's very early on in spring training. It's 6 days away until the WBC starts. He's not going to probably get another start until the WBC. Or next time he pitches. So we'll just have to wait and see. Here's my big concern, right? Get that pitch count up and get those innings up. That's what I want to see. Obviously, you want him to pitch well in the WBC for USA, of course. But let's not go crazy. All right? I'm not going to look at his performance in the WBC when he pitches maybe 4 to 5 innings in total in the WBC. Let's say 6 or 7 the most. I'm not going to go crazy with that. I'm not going to get overly excited because he struck out the side against the Dominican team. That would be cool, but let's not go crazy and anoint him something that he might not be yet. It's a great sign, but it's more about getting him out of the WBC healthy and getting that pitch count up, getting those innings up. So when he does come back, whenever the USA is done or when the WBC is over, he can go back this spring and continue his regimen and get ready for the start of the season. It's great the Mets did an overall a lot of the hitters, but they only made one front line starting pitching change. Yeah, well, no name. I mean, I think it was very hard for them. I didn't. I wanted another pitcher as well as some people did want, but the more pressing thing was making sure you got an ace. You had to get a top line starter. The Mets did their job in that aspect. I look. I would have loved to got another guy that's at the top of the rotation. You know, we can talk about many guys as we want, but that we talked about all offseason. But they did get the one thing they needed. They needed a top line starter, and they got it. And Freddy Peralta is that guy. So, with Nolan McLean and the expectations of Nolan McLean, you do have obviously a futuristic, 1-2 punch that we hope is a really good 1-2 punch. Again, we'll see. I think 3-5 is where you really have to pay attention and say, all right, let's go see what we can get out of Clay Holmes, David Peterson, Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga. I'm not extremely confident, but I am more confident in David Peterson in his contract year than I am Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga. You all know about my disgust for Kodai Senga. I don't even care if he's on this team, but he probably will be. And he probably will be in this rotation. So I got to root for him. He's wearing the jersey. That's what I care about. I don't want him to fail on the mound, but I don't trust him. Sean Manaea, I have no idea what we're going to get from Sean Manaea. Like that's a thing that I have no idea what we're going to get from Sean Manaea. Clay Holmes, I don't know either. Like he got through 170 innings last year healthy, but he's never done that in his career. We have no idea how he's going to bounce back after all those innings. He might stay healthy. He might get hurt. Even if he stays healthy, doesn't mean that he's going to have the energy to go through another 160 to 170 innings and be a solid pitcher. We have no idea. But David Peterson, on the other hand, we've seen what he can do. And I think last year was problematic because of 2024 and all the innings he threw coming off of hip surgery. I think that was a complete issue with David Peterson when it came to the innings in 2024 that he hasn't done. And then, he didn't have enough energy in the tank to finish up those following months to pitch well. And I think that was the big thing of it. David Peterson, I think he will be fine. I think that if you do it, I think that it's a learning experience, number one. And knowing that he didn't pitch that many innings as he did in 2024, or as much innings, and as going into the playoffs and going deep into the season, I think it's going to benefit him going into this season. So I think David Peterson is kind of that point in this rotation where it's like, if David Peterson finds something here and becomes even a above average pitcher, now you got a 1, 2, and 3 where it's like, okay, now we got something here. Now 4, 5, and 6, you're hoping to get innings from these guys and have quality starts. That's what you're hoping for. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, but no name. I mean, how many rotations have more than a 1-2 punch? There's not many. No, you can talk about the Dodgers. You can even talk about the Yankees for the most part if they're healthy with rotation-wise. There's not a lot of rotations that you can say, oh my God, look at 1 through 4. You don't have that in baseball. It's rare. 1, maybe 2 teams have it in baseball. Usually you got the 1, 2, and then 3 through 5 are usually like, okay, these guys could be good, but they're probably not. Yeah, but no name. Peterson threw in the low 90s in 2024, and he was one of our most crucial pitchers going down the stretch and into the playoffs. So I'm not worried about low 90s. We know David Peterson can get guys out. We know that. We've seen it. This isn't something where he's just been a bad pitcher his entire career, and we're just hoping for the best. We've seen him dominate games. We've seen him dominate batters. We've seen that 2 years ago. So that low 90s fastball works because he has other pitches. And again, we're all fixated on this, oh, he's got to throw 99 miles an hour. He can't get anybody out. Not true. If you locate your fastball in your low 90s and you spot your off-speed pitches and breaking balls, you'll be fine. That is how Major League Baseball works. Yeah, Dolo, of course people are going to worry about Sproat. But again, I'm not. Like, he's more developed than Jonah Tong. You know, I don't think the Mets seen Brandon Sproat as a guy who's going to be in this rotation if they didn't trade Manaea or trade, David Peterson or Kodai Senga. And obviously, it took later in the offseason to get Freddy Peralta because the Mets were trying to trade David Peterson or Kodai Senga. And I think if they would have traded Kodai Senga or David Peterson, Brandon Sproat might have not been in that deal for Freddy Peralta. I think Freddy Peralta deal would have still happened, but I think Brandon Sproat wouldn't have been in that deal because he would have been more likely to be in this rotation in 2026. So, no name that has been talked about, but I don't think that. I mean, they could do that. I'm not gonna say they're not. I'm not gonna say they're not going to do that, but you also got to be careful because again, right now you got 6 guys in this rotation. If you're gonna piggyback Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea, that sounds good on paper, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be successful. Like it always looks good on paper. That looks like a great idea, but we all know that when it's on paper, it doesn't mean it's going to work out on the field. It might not be easy. It looks good, but it doesn't mean nothing, right? Kodai Senga is a guy that pitched well for a little while and then got hurt and then never was the same again. Sean Manaea is a walking time bomb with that elbow. Like, you can't just put that on paper and say, oh, it's going to work when Kodai Senga needs an extra day just to pitch. Maybe Sean Manaea doesn't want that extra day. What do? You know, there's so many different aspects to it. Off days, you know, back-to-back games, 10 games in a row. Like, you can't just throw Kodai Senga out there just because, oh, it's his time to pitch, but, you know, he needs that extra day, and now what do? Now, what if you don't have Kodai Senga that day, but Sean Manaea is ready, and he can only go 4 innings? Now you're using 4 or 5 guys out of your bullpen. It's not a way to stretch out these guys' arms either. Like, these guys are starting pitchers. Like, you just can't do that. You know, Kodai Senga is a guy that has not pitched well on regular rest. He needs extra days. Sean Manaea, you know, yeah, it might seem like he needs extra days, but that doesn't mean he's going to use those extra days to be better. Like, there's so many different things to look at there. So, again, Kodai Senga and Manaea on the same day sounds great on paper, but that doesn't mean it's going to work on the field. It's a lot to ask for 2 guys that, let's be honest, were at the top of this rotation starting the year before they got hurt, or at least Sean Manaea before they got hurt. So we will look. It is what it is at this point. It's so early in the offseason, and in spring training that let's let these guys get healthy. Let them get through the spring training healthy, and then we can worry about that. Because the Mets have had bad luck. And honestly, I don't trust Kodai Senga or Sean Manaea to be healthy. So that might solve the problem of, oh, let's pitch these guys back to back. I don't like a 6-man rotation. I never liked the 6-man rotation. I think if you throw out a 6-man rotation, you're doing it because you don't have good enough pitchers to have a 5-man rotation. You're just throwing more out there just because it just sounds better. And it looks better on paper, but it usually doesn't work. If it really worked, then why don't the best teams in baseball do it? Because you don't need to do it. And to favor Kodai Senga because he needs an extra day, he's not a part of this top of this rotation anymore, right? You can't, worry about him and mess around with Freddy Peralta days off, or even Nolan McLean's days off. Kodai Senga's got to get with the program. Pitch every 5th day or be on the outside looking in. So that's just where we are right now. But, nothing's set in stone. Let's get closer and closer to opening day, and then we'll have that conversation about who's healthy. If all these arms are ready to go and healthy for the rotation on opening day, we'll have a conversation about that then. And left on base, Chris is on a work trip, and that's it. You can't do nothing about it. It's spring training for us too, right? We're trying to get all our work in now, so when the season starts, we have more time to do our shows together. So listen, guys, it is what it is at this point, right? You've seen Freddy Peralta today, 3 innings, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, look solid, which, again, I'm not worrying about the numbers. I'm worrying about stretching out his arm and his pitch count. That's all I care about. And being healthy. That's all I care about. Same thing goes for Nolan McLean. I don't care about the 6 strikeouts yesterday, even though it's nice to watch on TV, but I don't care about that. I want innings, and I want stretching out his arm and remaining healthy. That's all I care about in spring training. Because if they're healthy in spring, they're going to get their innings and they're going to get their pitch count up. That's all I care about. And Leo, I do appreciate that, buddy. So that's just what we're looking for right now in spring training, right? Obviously, we're focused on Carson Benge, who was in the game today. He went 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored. Juan Soto was 1 for 3, and everybody else is, a couple of prospects, Clifford, Ewan, Reimer, made some games. Ewan went 2 for 2, with 3 runs. So, a couple of prospects looked good today, but Benge is doing his thing. And again, I still don't believe Benge is going to get the right field starting job in right field. I just don't feel that. I know that might piss some people off, but again, when you got Mike Tauchman and MJ Melendez, who are guys that can fill in and be a stopgap for a month or so, I think that's more likely. And I know that's not, it's not pleasing. It's not fun to talk about. We want to have Carson Benge's name announced on opening day, right? That's the idea. But I think Carson Benge has to wow everybody. He can't have a good spring. He needs to have a great spring. He needs to have a Brett Beatty 2025 spring training. That's what he needs, to just give no doubt and have no, thought of, oh, should we bring him up or not? He needs to go crazy like Brett Beatty did last year in spring. That's what he needs to do. And not saying he can't do it. He definitely could. But he needs that type of spring, in my opinion, to make the team. And I know that's not favorable. I know Met fans would be like, what's the point of telling this kid, the job is yours if you prove that you can have this job. But you bring in Tauchman, you bring in Melendez, you do have Tyron Taylor as well. So it's frustrating, but I understand what the Mets are trying to do here, right? You can't bring this kid up if he's not ready. You just can't, unless Carson Ben's got to give them no choice but to bring him north. That's what he has to do. So, and I know a lot of people are looking at Mark Vientos. I know it doesn't look good so far in spring, but again, I'm giving him the chance as well. Again, right now, he should be the primary DH, but things happen. Again, if he doesn't perform well in spring training, you can start talking about Ronnie Mauricio being a part of this if he has a good spring. He is a switch hitter. He is a guy that is a better lefty than righty, but he is a big option as well. So we will see there. And AJ Ewan is looking great, but again, I don't think he's an option at this point either. So, again, Carson Benge is an interesting thing to look at this spring, but I think he needs a Brett Beatty last year spring training to have no question that he's going to make the opening day roster. That's where we are right now. And if you're just tuning in, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, guys. Again, not overreacting to everything we're seeing very early in spring. It's only game 6 of spring. The WBC is coming up within a week. So we're going to get WBC games and no spring training games, obviously. So we're just hoping people stay healthy. The things to look at, Devin Williams pitched for the first time in spring. His first pitch wearing a New York Mets uniform in spring training, he gives up a home run on his first pitch. Again, not going to overreact, but it's going to bring questions. It's going to bring the Edwin Diaz conversation back to the fold, obviously. Right? Every time Devin Williams looks bad in spring, Edwin Diaz's name is going to come up. It's just natural as a fan, as a guy who was the best closer in baseball, who the Mets screwed up and let get away. That's where we are at the moment. But I'm not overreacting to anything yet, except please stay healthy. So when we get to a few days before opening day, we can talk about the majority healthy roster so we can pinpoint what this team needs and who's coming up north to the opening day roster. You know, when it comes to Carson Benge, is Dylan Ross, or, you know, guys like that. Who's going to make the opening day roster? Is it going to be Tachman? Is it going to be Melendez? Who's going to get the last spot in the bullpen? A lot of things to look at there. You know, is Vientos actually going to take that DH spot and take it with a vengeance? Right now, he doesn't look good. But again, it's only 6 games. What has he played in? 3 so far? So I'm not overreacting as of yet. But there's so much still to go. But all we want right now is health. Healthy. Get as close as you can to opening day with full health. And then we can have the conversation of the final spots on this roster that we'll definitely get into. But again, it is just a few days in, right? You're in the Northeast, some of you, and you're dealing with snow, you're dealing with cold weather. You know, it hasn't really been warm when I'm living down south either, but overall, you get to watch some baseball, you get to see the sun shining, you get to see the crack of the bat, right? You get to hear the crack of the bat. That's always great, right? Baseball is back. We get to talk about on-field action, which is always important. But hey, it is baseball season. We're starting the post game off a little strong right now. Obviously, Chris has been busy, so it's hard to get us together. Probably won't be together until I would say the second week in March, because again, his work schedule, my work schedule is hard to get together. And again, this is the best time to not be together during spring training because, well, it's easier to, you know, miss shows during spring than during the season. So again, if you're new to the channel or you're new to the show, this is the new logo for the Mets post-game show. It's with my logo and Chris's logo with Citi Field in the background. Our logos popping out of the infield. Just a new look for the 2026 season. So keep on coming back for more. Probably sometime, I would say next week, I'll do a Mets pregame show to bring that to light as well, to show, you know, to show that new logo and all that fun stuff as well. So make sure you tune into the pregames and postgames that we're going to have throughout the season. But we're just, you know, getting through the kinks in spring training with new looks, new logos, new scoreboards, new lines, new box scores, and all that fun stuff as well. So that is why we're here, right, to get out the kinks now. So when it comes during the season, all we have to worry about is your comments, your opinions, my opinions, Chris's opinions, and all that fun stuff as well. So once again, the Mets win 14-3 against the St. Louis Cardinals. Freddy Peralta looked good, 3 innings, 3 strikeouts, 1 hit. Devin Williams did pitch for the first time this spring. First pitch of spring for the New York Mets. He gave up a home run. Again, don't overreact. Edwin Diaz is not coming through that door. So Devin Williams, get it together, right? I'm not worried about it yet, but it is going to bring up the Edwin Diaz conversation. So once again, the Mets are 4-2 in spring so far. Beat down on the Cardinals today. Freddy Peralta looked good. Nolan McLean looked good yesterday. So the 1-2 punch of the New York Mets at the top of their rotation couldn't look better. And that is a good start for their spring starts so far for the New York Mets. So in a week, we have WBC conversations to talk about. You know, maybe I'll do pregame USA pregames and stuff like that and post games just to, you know, interact with you guys just for some fun through the WBC. So with that said, guys, thank you for tuning into the Mets post game show right here on the channel. Mets win 14-3. I will see you next time on possibly a pregame or a post game. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification button. So when I do go live and when I post things, you will get that notification, guys. Have a good night. Let's go Mets. And I'll see you next time, guys. Have a good night.
Meet the Mets, step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife.